Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video from your favorite man-child, Super Jesus Jackson. Thanks for stopping by. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, as they called him, is no longer with us. He passed away. I've been thinking a lot about this guy, about this man, for a bit ever since his passing. Now, I am 26. I'll be 27 in a bit. And in around my early 20s, I think, I listened to a lot of Ozzy Osbourne's music, Black Sabbath, but mostly Ozzy Osbourne material. I listened to, I think his first 3 solo albums. I listened to the first Black Sabbath record. This was during a time when I was really exploring music. And he was a very interesting guy to listen to because it was weird. I mean, I at the time I was barely sort of dipping my toes in the realm of rock music and stuff like that. And now I had already listened to bands like Tool and stuff like that. And so by the time I got to Ozzy Osbourne's music, it wasn't too crazy. But it was kind of bizarre because it was like, late 70s, 80s type of rock music. And at the time, I really understood, how much of an influence Ozzy Osbourne's band and he had to the music, to the future of music. I mean, obviously, we know that people look at Black Sabbath and they say, oh, that was the birth of metal. That was the birth of hard rock, and that definitely is true. I think also you could say that about Led Zeppelin. But especially Black Sabbath, man, it wasn't just the type of sound or the type of genre, but it was dark. You know what I mean? It was brooding. It was moody. It really was darkness. I mean, if you really listen to their first record, it's darkness. And then when you listen to Ozzy Osbourne's records, they're a little bit more fun here and there. But there is some darkness to it for sure. But at the time, it was definitely a very special kind of darkness. 80s darkness. But I'm sure that if you were to think about it in the context of the 80s, that music was definitely, it was not the mainstream music. It was the music that, the introverts were listening to, perhaps, at least from what I've assessed, right? But now that he's gone, obviously, as like with anything, when someone passes, you go and listen to their music, their material again. And so here I am making a video about it. I wanted to highlight one of the songs that I really gravitated to when I first listened to Ozzy Osbourne. And that's the song You're No Different. This is from his Bark at the Moon album, 1983, I believe. But this song really, really stood out to me. Obviously, when you think of Ozzy Osbourne, when you listen to the song, you'll be like, okay, this is a song that Ozzy Osbourne would write just because of who he is. But also what I love about it is that it's very universal. I really related to it a lot. And I think a lot of you can as well. I think no matter who you are, you can relate to this song. I think that's the beauty of it. But what we're going to do here is listen to the song and react to it, and then we'll talk about it. I wanted to pick this song other than, a typical Crazy Train or even a song like Flying High Again, which I love, and it's definitely not as, revered as Crazy Train. Maybe I'll do another video if this video does well, talking about Flying High Again, because I love that song. But I really, really wanted to sort of do a video that really talks about Ozzy. And I think this song is Ozzy, really, it's about him, who he was. Yeah, so let's do it. We're going to look at the lyrics as well. So 80s, so 80s.
If you choose to criticize,
This is so good. I mean, just the verses already, the melody of the verses. Everything, it's so good. You could tell that there's like pain in those verses, in the melody of those verses. It's really, really good. And then once the chorus hits, I love how chill it is, how relaxed it is. You're no different to me, yeah. That, just really makes it kind of relaxed, but it's a really impactful, phrase, sentence. He's telling them, you're no different to me. But the melody is like so relaxed, but so good. But there's a lot of pain in this song. And then, obviously the instrumentation of the song is so 80s, but it's so good. It's so ambient, so moody. The sort of bell synth type, and then the drums, dude. The drums are so 80s, and even sort of the mixing of it. It's so, I don't know. It has a weird. It's not. It doesn't sound like your typical mixed song. It's like there's a vintageness to the sound, and I can't really explain it. It truly, I don't know. It feels like a song that's mixed in a garage, in a basement, but like that's good. It totally makes the song sound cooler, sound edgier. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds incredibly vintage, even more vintage than other 80s songs. It doesn't sound like poppy or like, super produced or slick, it's there's grime to it. There's edge. It's very beautiful. Love that. You're no different to me. That guitar solo. Can't you see? Can't you see? You're no different to me. I gotta stop it right there, guys. Oh my God. Now I remember why I love this song so much. Like I said earlier, and like a lot of Ozzy's music here, has this darkness to it. Specifically here in the bridge, you can hear that darkness in the chords. That's so... That is so dark. But then it changes. It becomes a little bit brighter. And even to the point where there's like a really, really powerful, like maybe even major chord. I'm not a music theory snob, but it sounds like there's a power chord, a major chord of some kind here in the climax of the bridge, which is like brilliant because there's this, total dichotomy of this darkness that the song has. And then this bridge section, it just becomes almost bright and hopeful. It's really interesting. That right there. That right there. It's so good. It's so good, and it totally contrasts. Oh. Then it goes back to the darkness. The guitar there. So beautiful. Oh my God, I wish they would have kept that whole section at the end. That's amazing. Oh, the bass. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that's so good. Oh, wow. Oh, why didn't they keep it, dude? Is there an extended version of this song? That's incredible, dude. I want an extended version of this song. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The lyrics are very, very interesting. I think the song, well, the lyrics definitely are enhanced by the music. I mean, the reason why I gravitated to this song so much is fairly obvious. I mean, this is a song that Ozzy kind of wrote to basically give the middle finger to his critics, to people that crapped on him for being different, right? And what I love about the song is, oh my God, this came out November 15th, 1983. Jesus, same year as Thriller, dude. Insane. Same month too, I think. Everybody has their feelings of, feeling like an outcast, right? I mean, that's why a lot of people turn to rock music, metal music, emo music, even, whatever it is. Like, people turn to these types of songs because they feel that's the stereotype, right? That a lot of these people, they don't feel like they have a place in society, so they listen to these types of songs to feel listened, to feel heard. And this is no different here with this song. I mean, this song is fairly obvious. Now, even though I am not Ozzy Osbourne. You're not Ozzy Osbourne. People who love this song are not Ozzy Osbourne. I think you could still relate to it in many ways, because we all know how it feels when we're being told by society or by a specific person that we're the weird ones, we're the problem, we are wrong. But they clearly have a superiority complex. They're the ones on their high horse, and they have a lot of issues too. And they just don't see those issues. They think that they're on the right side of whatever, that they're pure, and that we're the problem, that we're the weird ones. And whatever it is, whatever context it is, I think we can all relate to that, right? And so, you might not be a person that has eaten a bat's head, but, dealt with severe addiction. But, everybody's got their thing, everybody's got their thing. And, obviously Ozzy was, the name of the band, Black Sabbath. Come on, like that was definitely controversial, and sort of his lyrics and his themes and everything, was controversial, but, and still to this day, I know people that still view this type of music as too dark, as on the wrong side of culture, like it's sort of blasphemy, religious or not, like it's just wrong to listen to this, it's just too dark, and whenever I hear that type of argument, I always it truly is, it usually comes from a person that thinks that whatever they think is better, whatever they think is right, that they're they're more enlightened, that they're superior mentally, spiritually, whatever. And they're trying to tell people, no, like this is wrong. It's still to this day in 2025, there are people out there that think like that. I know some of those people. And so imagine in 1983, right? You know what I mean? Like if you even liked this music, how you felt. So, that's, it's bizarre to me, because the thing about the song, right, is that even in all of its darkness, not only is it incredibly sincere and it's incredibly human, but even in the music, in the darkness of the music, there are parts of the song that go bright, and that's the thing that I've always sort of fought for whenever people hated on metal music or rock music, thinking that it's too angry, too loud, or, too demonic, or whatever the hell you may want to think, is that music is like anything else. It's a spectrum of emotion, of feeling. Sometimes you want to listen to a pop song. Sometimes you want to listen to a metal song, and in pop songs even have the same, pop songs, just because they're pop doesn't mean that it's always happy. But a lot of the greatest pop songs are sad, there's some metal songs that are incredibly positive, and it's empowering, and there's incredibly, and there's a lot of metal songs that are angry, that are vicious. And there's music is a vehicle for a spectrum of emotion, it's all present. And even if you wanted to put things into a box and say, okay, pop music is happy, metal music is demonic and ugly and whatever, like there's a place for all of those things, because just like the song states, nobody is sinless. Everybody has darkness in them, and I think that's what songs like this and genres like this sort of tell us, and point out to us, is that there are parts of our hearts that align with this type of song. There are parts of our hearts that align with the fucking Macarena. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. And so it's a point of, okay, whenever you want to listen to it, whenever the song speaks to you and is catharsis to you, that's meaningful. That's where the value is, right? And there's beauty in everything. And even then, there's so much contradiction, because again, this song is incredibly dark, and you might think it's too moody, whatever, but there is beauty in the song. There are points where it's positive. Even the music sounds optimistic. It's just, and that's so it's so sophisticated there, I think. But the lyrics here, you kind of read through them here. We all can relate to stuff like this, right? How many times can you put me down till in your heart you realize, if you chose to criticize, you choose your enemies. Everything that I say and do in your eyes is always wrong. Tell me, where do I belong in a sick society? That's the thing about it, right? Is that's that hypocrisy that people have, where they try to tell you that what you're doing is wrong, and that you're, whatever it is, and you're just looking at them like you think you're pure, you think you're absolutely like some of the most, well, I'm not going to say that, that's incredibly generalizing, but there's a lot of people that I used to know in my past when I grew up Catholic. And even in like my family, they grew up Catholic. They're a little bit more religious than I am, but even then I wouldn't say they're religious. But like my mom has always pointed out that the most hypocritical people sometimes are the incredibly devout people, are the incredibly religious people, who go to church every Sunday and act like they're righteous. Oftentimes they're the people that are the shittiest, and so that's interesting, right? And obviously, I think Ozzy, as the song progresses, he even sort of makes a direct, I think he was sort of making a stab here at the government, or maybe at the time conservatives who were kind of crapping on his music. And he's sort of saying, tell me the truth and I'll admit to my guilt. If you'll try and understand, is that blood that's on your hands from your democracy, because, he's like, you're telling me that I'm wrong. You're telling me that I'm doing all this crazy stuff, brother. I mean, look at you, you're the ones in power. You're the ones that seem to be on the right side of the public. And yet you're doing all these heinous things. You're not perfect either, and I think that's a fascinating sort of comment, right? Because, there's always this sort of argument of who's worse, right? What's worse, a demon who just knows that they're a demon, or the demon who pretends to be an angel? Like, what's worse, right? And to me, I've always been like, well, at least I don't pretend like I'm an angel, right? But obviously they're both wrong, at the end of the day, if you're talking about objectivity. But like, I think that's what sort of Ozzy is trying to say here in this argument, or in this song. And I think it's a very powerful argument, because oftentimes, again, it's those people that, treat you like crap, that outcast you. They're the ones who are guilty of all the things that they say that you do, if not worse. You know what I mean? Like, they're the ones who truly are, evil. They're the ones who truly are, morally wrong or whatever, and obviously that's not the case all the time. I'm just saying, there are specific moments in your life, I'm sure, where, even in a regular workplace, where like a coworker is telling you like, hey, like, what are you doing? You're lazy, or your boss is telling you you're a lazy piece of crap. And then you're looking at your boss going like, look who's talking, like just a simple thing like that, I think definitely carries the message of this song. You know what I mean? Like, it's again, it's also in this other line here, concealing your crimes behind a grandeur of lies. Tell me, where do I begin? If you think you're without sin, be the first to cast the stone. There it is, man. There it is. I mean, that's it. If you think you're perfect, then if you are truly perfect, then please judge me. But if you're not, then maybe you should back off, let me live my life, the way that you live yours. A sinful life, let me continue living on with my sinful life, like it's I don't know. It's a very powerful line here. And, it's really cool. I think this song really, shows you, it pulls you into the sort of mind, into the vulnerability of Ozzy Osbourne as a person. And I think when you think of all of his life, the most horrible things, from his addiction, his infidelities, biting off the head of a bat, doves, apparently he said this in his memoir. He admitted to killing cats with a shotgun, in the 80s. Apparently he did do this. I could be wrong, but apparently he said that in his memoir. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, but either way, even, I'm sure, to me, even without all that egregious stuff that I just mentioned, like when I learned that, he was in, he was incredibly adulterous with his wife, Sharon. You know, even that was a little jarring to me. It was a little difficult because at the time when he died, everybody was like, you know, mourning his death as they should, right? And they were like, oh my God, you know, this beautiful person, this incredibly humble, loving guy, you know, and I was totally on board with that, you know, and then I, you know, dug a little bit more and then, you know, like learned that he was not the most faithful guy, you know, many times with his wife, and then, you know, the animal stuff and everything. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, but I think I see that, right? But then I think about, well, this guy was an incredibly troubled person, addiction, all of that. I'm sure there was a lot of trauma. I don't know how his childhood was. I'm sure his childhood was incredibly rough if he did all these things, right? And so in a way, you know, it was difficult. I was a little conflicted. I was like, you know, am I supposed to like revere him, you know, like as everybody else is doing? Like, how am I supposed to feel here, you know? And then I listened to this song again. And I thought about, you know, obviously you can't look at things in a vacuum, right? You have to look at them in context. And when I do that, and then again, I'm doing what the song is telling me to do, which is, well, I'm not perfect either. I've done a lot of stuff that, I mean, you know, it's nowhere near as heinous as addiction or, you know, cheating on my wife multiple times or, you know, potentially killing animals. Like, I have not done that. But in the context of my life, you know, again, don't look at things in a vacuum. I think I've done some, you know, not very great things, you know, like I'm not perfect, you know, either. And so as long as I think that's the lesson here, you know, and this is all basic stuff, you know what I mean? But like, don't look at things in a vacuum, you know, think about the context, think about, you know, where someone comes from, how someone comes from. And, you know, did they try to repent? Did they try to change their life? And I think Ozzy did do that. I think we can all agree that he did do that. And, you know, good for him. But this song right here, I mean, that's kind of what it made me do, is sort of realize all these things. And I think it really, it was a cry, you know, like there's pain in this song, you know, you could really feel it. I think this is one of his most underrated songs. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it definitely is. Like I said, it's not a crazy train, you know, at all. It's not paranoid, you know, as much as I love those songs. But this is the one, when I think of Ozzy Osbourne, this is the song that I think of. Rest in peace, Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. There it is. Those are my thoughts on Ozzy Osbourne's You're No Different. Let me know in the comment section below what you have to say. Do you like the song? Do you not like the song? Does it hate you? Does it not? Do you agree with what I had to say? Maybe not. Maybe you have a new perspective. Maybe you hate Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Share with your Ozzy Osbourne friends if you will. Give this video a like if you like, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But I think that's it for me. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.